My parents forced me to sign over my $220K inheritance at 19, saying family doesn't sue family. 10 years later, I walked into court with a USB drive, and their faces went pale. I was 19 when my parents stole $220,000 from me. Not with guns, not with threats, but with 3 words I'll never forget. Good daughters don't sue. For 10 years, I carried that shame like a stone in my chest. I watched them build a pool with my money, take cruises with my money, buy a Tesla with my money. And every time I asked for help, even $50 for groceries, they'd say, "You gave it up willingly, sweetheart. Don't be greedy." But what they didn't know, I never forgot. And I never stopped collecting proof. Because the truth is, the best revenge isn't loud. It's quiet. It's patient. And it's backed by a USB drive full of 10 years of lies. My name is Olivia Bennett, and this is how I took back everything they stole and made sure the whole world saw them for who they really were. The day Grandma died and my inheritance vanished. It was a Tuesday in November, rain tapping on the hospital window. The heart monitor flatlined at 3:14 p.m. Grandma Eleanor, my rock, my safe place, the only person who ever believed in me, was gone. She left me $220,000, not in a will. In a payable on death, PIAD account, just my name on the beneficiary form. No probate, no delays, just mine. I was numb, grieving. But for the first time in my life, I felt secure. Then my parents showed up. Mom hugged me tight. Dad squeezed my shoulder. "We're so proud of you, Liv," Mom whispered. "Grandma loved you best." I believed her. 2 days later, they invited me over for family dinner. The table was set, candles lit, wine poured. And then, over lasagna, Dad slid a document across the table. "It's just a formality," he said gently. "We're moving the money into a family trust for safekeeping. You're too young to manage that kind of sum." I frowned, "But it's already in my name." Mom reached for my hand. "Sweetheart, think of the taxes, the fees. What if you get scammed? We'll hold it for you until you're ready." I hesitated. I was 19. I'd never balanced a checkbook. I worked part-time at a bookstore. "But what if I need it?" I asked. "We'll give you what you need," Dad promised. "You're our daughter. We'd never let you struggle." Then Mom leaned in, voice soft but firm. "Family doesn't sue family, Olivia. Good daughters trust their parents." I signed. Right there, in their dining room, with a cheap Bic pen, I signed away $220,000. And just like that, I was poor again. The decade of borrowing that wasn't borrowing. At first, they gave me allowances. $100 here, $200 there. "Don't tell anyone," Mom would say. "People will think we're spoiling you." But by year 2, the allowances stopped. I got a full-time job, then a second job, rented a room in a shared house, ate ramen for weeks at a time. Meanwhile, my parents remodeled their kitchen, $45,000, took a 3-week trip to Italy, $18,000, bought a new SUV, $52,000, installed a backyard pool, $70,000, all with my money. When I asked why I couldn't get help with rent, Dad said, "You gave it to the family. That means it's not yours anymore." When I cried, Mom said, "Stop being dramatic. You have your health. That's worth more than money." But the worst, the absolute worst, when I was diagnosed with endometriosis at 24 and needed surgery, I called them desperate. "Can you help with the $3,000 deductible?" Silence. Then, "You signed that money away, Olivia. We're not your bank." I maxed out a credit card, scheduled the surgery, and that night I made a decision. I would never ask them for anything again, but I would never forget what they took, and I would get it back. The secret project. I bought a small voice recorder, started saving text, screenshotted their social media. Every time they posted about a vacation funded by smart investing, I noted the date. Every time they said, "We're so blessed," I saved the photo. I even tracked their spending using public property records. Car registrations and credit reports, yes. You can access some of that legally. But the real breakthrough? Grandma's second will. Turns out, she'd updated her estate plan weeks before she died, but my parents lost it. Until a neighbor found it in an old filing cabinet and mailed it to me. Inside, in the event my first bequest is compromised, I leave an additional $150,000 to Olivia Bennett, held in escrow until she turns 30. My parents had hidden it, lied about it, tried to keep it. But now, I had proof of intent and proof of fraud. I contacted a lawyer specializing in financial elder abuse and unjust enrichment. Her name was Diane Ruiz, and when I showed her my decade-long evidence file, she said one word: perfect. The lawsuit that shook them. I didn't sue for theft. That's hard to prove with a signed document. Instead, Diane filed a civil suit for undue influence and constructive fraud. Your parents exploited your grief, youth, and trust to gain control of assets that were never theirs. They then used those assets for their exclusive benefit while denying you support. That's not family love. That's financial predation. We also filed a motion to enforce Grandma's second will, which named me as sole beneficiary of the $150,000 escrow. My parents laughed when they got served. Good luck proving anything, Dad sneered over the phone. You signed it, Olivia. End of story. But they didn't know about the recordings. The USB drive. For years, I'd recorded our calls whenever they guilt-tripped me, denied help, or bragged about their lifestyle. I compiled them into a 22-minute audio file. Clean, time-stamped, horrifying. Clip 1, 2016. You think $220K just sits in a bank? We used it, Olivia, to build a life. You should be grateful we let you live here rent-free for 2 months. Clip 2, 2019. Dad. If you were smarter, you'd have kept your mouth shut. Now you're stuck being poor. That's on you. Clip 3, 2022. Mom to friend unaware I was on speaker. Oh, Olivia. She's fine. Still working that little bookstore job. Honestly, she's never going to be anyone. But hey, at least she gave us that nice nest egg. I put it all on a black USB drive. Labeled it Evidence, Bennett v. Bennett. And the morning of the court hearing, I clipped it to my folder. The courtroom collapse. The courtroom was small, wood-paneled, cold. My parents sat on the other side, smug. Dad in a blazer. Mom with her church lady smile. The judge reviewed the documents, asked questions, then turned to me. Ms. Bennett, do you have anything to add? I stood, walked to the evidence table, plugged in the USB drive. I'd like to submit 10 years of recorded conversations, text messages, and financial records showing a pattern of emotional manipulation, financial exploitation, and concealment of a valid will. My mom's smile vanished. The judge listened to 3 clips, then looked at my parents. You pressured a grieving 19-year-old to sign away her inheritance, then spent it on yourselves while denying her basic support? And you hid a second will that reaffirmed her right to additional funds? Dad stammered. We were protecting her. From what? The judge snapped. Herself, or your own greed? Then came the verdict. The court finds clear and convincing evidence of undue influence and constructive fraud. The 2013 transfers void. The $220,000 plus 10 years of interest at 5% is awarded to Ms. Bennett. Additionally, the $150,000 escrow from the second will is released immediately. Total judgment, $428,630. My mom burst into tears. Dad turned gray. And me? I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I just said, thank you, Your Honor. Because the money wasn't the victory. The truth was what I did with the truth. I paid off my debt, bought a small house, started a nonprofit that helps young adults recognize financial abuse in families, and I posted the unedited courtroom audio, with names changed, on Reddit. It went viral. Are raised by narcissists. Our legal advice. True Reddit. Hundreds of people messaged me. This happened to me too. I thought I was alone. You gave me the courage to fight back. As for my parents, they tried to appeal. Lost. Sold their house to pay the judgment. Now live in a retirement community and haven't called me in 2 years. Good, because I finally understand. Family isn't blood. It's who shows up, who protects you, who honors your worth. And if your family does the opposite, then you build a new one rooted in truth, in justice, in the quiet power of a woman who waited 10 years to play her final card.